Yo, so today I want to take a little bit more of an opportunity to do some discussion about detailing and kind of what you can expect being a detailer or detailing even your own car or someone else's, and kind of how to be more realistic with the results you can expect because no, never mind. Today I just want to talk about a couple of tips that every detailer should know. Whether you're starting out or not, doesn't matter. These are things that you might not consider when you start detailing, but they're good to know. So if you are detailing for someone else, you can give them a heads up on some of these things, or you're more aware of what you are capable of doing and what you're capable of not doing. And I apologize if you hear the wind blower. It's, I got some AC running, so not on me right now. It's a pretty nice day out, I gotta say. Also, I really wanted to test if this shirt actually looked white because I bleached like the heck out of one of the sleeves because I got some stain on it. So I think I got it out mostly. Whatever. I also needed a little bit of an opportunity to kind of take it easy on some of these videos because these don't take a whole lot of work, but with everything else going on, it's like I don't have I don't have as much time as I would like yet to do these. I've at least got like a schedule. I still need to do better planning on the videos themselves, so I've made it one step farther or one step closer. But now I'm like 14 steps farther away, it feels like. So the first tip I wanted to talk about is when you are just cleaning a car or detailing it, it's not always going to turn out like it's looking brand new or it's looking really clean, because some cars just have so much damage to them that even if you do clean them, they're still going to look worn out, faded, and just not really perfect. And you can notice this a lot with usually door panels if they have like scratches or nicks in them. Like you can't get those out, or if someone leaves their car out a lot, their front dash is going to be extremely sun faded, and that means it's like it just looks washed out. Like it doesn't look vibrant and new. And like even if you use something like a plastic protectant, it's not going to look new unless you like physically add something to make it more colorful. If you want to do that, that's great, but that's not something that I do as a detailer. I just put forward the expectation like, hey, if your car is like really old, I can make it look clean, but it's not going to look brand new. You might like the results, but it might not be what you're expecting. Because you see some of these people online, they take like cars that have been like junkyards and just turn them brand new. And it's like if you were just detailing that car, it would still look like a junkyard car. So that's something that's important to know as a detailer, that you can detail all you want, you can clean as much as you can, and sometimes a car just won't look new. Like it just won't, no matter how hard you try. And that's a perfectly reasonable expectation. Not everyone has that when they pay for a detailer. Sometimes people think $200 is a lot of money, and then they'll be like, well, I expect my car to be brand new with $200. And sometimes people will be like, $200 is a nice, like middle of the road, like I can get my car cleaned for that. So people expect different things at different price points depending on, what they've had in the past and all that. And it's like, you have to stick to what you are as a detailer essentially, which probably makes no sense, but whatever. I'm just gonna be flubbing around this video and showing some nice little graphics, and wow, like this is so cool, isn't it, guys? You'll notice with floor mats the most often with older vehicles is that they're just going to be so worn out that you can't really even make them look new. Some of them just have holes in them, and they're just going to have holes in them. Like I'm not a carpet guy. I'm not going to replace your carpets. I'm not going to try and fix the hole in the carpet, but I will clean it. It'll look like a clean hole. If someone has like really scratched up paint, like even if you wash it and clean it, sometimes you won't even be able to polish those kinds of things out. If someone does come to you with these kinds of issues, or if you have these issues yourself and you try to do, like let's say I got a scratch in my door panel, and I try to polish it out, it just doesn't come out because it's too deep of a scratch, let's say. You're probably gonna have to just paint either the door panel again, or sand down that area and paint it, and it probably won't look that great, but it's perfectly reasonable to not expect a car to look fully brand new. It depends what you're doing to the car, but most of the time, you can only do so much for it. 1 second. Just had to review my notes. So one kind of like important concept is giving yourself a time frame is pretty important for detailing. Not just like because you're charging a price or you own a business and you are doing this as a service, but like even if you're doing it for yourself, it's important to take care of your car. Like don't get me wrong, but you don't want it to be the only thing you're doing. And also if you're doing detail for somebody else, it's good to give them a time frame for about how long you're going to be working. And you can take a little longer, a little less. For example, when someone's like, hey, I just want my whole car cleaned, I'm like, okay, so if I'm doing the interior and exterior, like the full thing, like I'm doing wheels, car wash, all of the carpets, all of that good stuff. If I'm doing all that, it's going to be like more expensive, or I don't know. I was losing my train of thought because of this fan blowing out. And then I started hearing my own voice and I was like, oh my God. Whoa. But like if I'm doing a full car, like interior and exterior, I'll say like, that'll take me usually about 2 hours. And for really dirty cars, it might take me like 2.5 hours, or that's where I kept myself off. But if it's like a much cleaner car, I can usually do it in maybe like an hour and a half. So there's that, hour span where, I can, there's like an hour, I don't know what the word is, like an hour of leeway I give myself for that service. And for some more complicated services like polishing, which I don't offer yet, but if I would, I'd say it'd probably take me around, anywhere from 4 to 8 hours. It really depends on how bad the paint is and if I have to clean the full car as well. And like if the customer needs the car after a certain amount of time, like it's just important that you're trying to move things along rather than just stick on one part of the car for a whole hour and just spend time on that. And it's like, you want to do a good job, but they're only going to notice really so much. So you don't really have to be perfect in what you do. You just need to do a good job and you need to do it well and be consistent with it. Because the most important part is like just that first moment when they get in the car. It's not going to be a week after or anything. It's like you just want to make sure there's no weird smells anymore. The glass looks clean. All of the places they sit and interact with feel nice. Like they don't feel sticky or gross. It's important that you box yourself into a certain frame of mind for not only what you're doing, but for what other people can expect for you to do. And if you are someone who just does your own detailing work, or you just take care of your own car, just make sure you're taking care of yourself too. That's kind of important. So you don't want to be just detailing all day and your car is your only friend. This is my only friend right here, the steamer. Epic. Good tool right there. But yeah, it's like also important for like a frame of mind for like scheduling other people, more than one person a day. Trying to think of what else I had on the list. Got nothing. I'll be right back again. So along the lines of giving yourself a time frame for your work, it's important to also realize that if you are doing your own work, it doesn't have to be like you detail the whole car, you detail none of it. You don't have to treat it like one whole job. It's like a way to kind of reduce how stressed you are about maybe doing the work. This really applies to like anything in life. Splitting up the work into more manageable tasks is actually pretty important. Instead of having to do, the whole car wash, do all the interior work all at the same time, what you could do is simplify it and just be like, okay, well today I'm just gonna take care of the seats. That's really simple to do. Once I do that, then I don't have to do them for like a month. It depends what seats you have. I have leather seats, so they're super easy, but cloth I know can be a little bit of a booty cheek. Either way, if you're just focusing on that one thing, then you're not worrying about anything else that you have to do. And then maybe like in a couple days when you have some more time or you have some more energy for it or whatever, then you can go ahead and be like, all right, well now I'm gonna do the inside console area, and maybe I'll also take care of the carpets. You don't have to do the whole car. That's just what I'm trying to say. And I think that's important to take note of. Man, got my accordion. There's no way I'm gonna be able to animate that. I saw this one where like Trump was like playing with an accordion and it's like the funniest thing ever. Oh my God. So yeah, if you're having a hard time starting a detail, just realize that you don't have to do the whole thing right away. And that kind of really goes for anything in life. If you're having trouble like starting it, just start small. Honestly, goals are a pretty important thing to have. They give you something to be passionate about, something to look forward to. So you have to set aside time and really focus on it. If you don't apply the rigor to it, then it's not gonna bear any fruit. What else do I want to talk about? Dude, I'm just like full of shiz today. I keep like startling these birds. I think they have like a nest. I don't usually come out here on the porch. What am I gonna do? Sit outside? I'm like in a weird spot where there's like so much shade. There's really no sun right here. There's like over there, but then I'm like facing the parking lot and it's just kind of just like, what's that guy doing? He's just sitting on his porch facing the parking lot. Like, that just seems weird. Dude, why can I not remember? Amnesia. So when you are detailing, like if you are doing it for someone else or for yourself, there's gonna be places in the car that you miss. It sounds kind of bad, but like for me, I'll usually go sort of light on the wheel wells while I just focus on the wheels, because it's like, sure, I might run into someone who I do that with and then they're like, man, you did horrible on my wheel wells. Well, I don't know what to tell you. that's what I charge for that service that I gave you. So yep. And then there's like places like under the seat that I'm not able to get, or really in between the seat and the center console that I'm not able to get super well, because unless you take the seat out, you can't agitate that area. That's just how it is. You can push the seat up as far as possible, push it back as far as possible, and there still will be, you know, a little strip right probably in the middle that you can't get. I just try to focus really on the parts of the car that are going to be most noticeable first, and there's some areas in the trunk that I don't do super well. So don't be like too worried about missing stuff in a car. So like if there's ever a time where I'm like, hey, just like, I'm like, look, let me just start from the beginning again. So like I'll just finish up a car and I'll go to the customer and I'll be like, hey, so I just finished your car, it looks really good, but here's a couple things that okay, let me start again. So I'll be like, just want you to give it a spot check, just so like before I leave, I get like confirmation that they're okay with the work I did. And if there's anything that I missed that they would like me to do, then I can take care of it then and there. I haven't had anyone come back to me and be like, yo, you really did a horrible job or anything like that. So I think it's okay to miss stuff. Like I know there's stuff that I don't really do well, like the trunk seats, like the back of those are usually made of like that cloth stuff because, you know, you can fold them down and you have more trunk room. But it's like getting that stuff is like really kind of a pain in the butt. So I'll just do a light job on it, but nothing crazy. There's like a freaking, dude, I don't know what that is. It's like a fuzzy looking hornet. Maybe my eyes are just busted. I've been working like way too hard lately, and it's like I'm on my screen the whole time. Sorry, I'm taking way too long for this. So the last thing I wanted to mention is that this is a little bit off topic compared to the other stuff, but when you're looking for chemicals to buy, don't be too wound up in the specific brands that you're buying that you don't want to try different stuff out. 95% of the time, the specific brand of chemical you get isn't really going to have an impact on the outcome of the work at all. You can see this just by one brand, P&S, for example. They have really affordable detailing products, super cheap. People love them, they do a great job. Probably because most people buy them because they are cheap and they do a great job. But like if I look at something more like CarPro, they're known, I think they're known for their freaking expensive chemicals. Like it's insane how expensive they are. If I compare the P&S interior cleaner to CarPro InterQD, which there is a huge price difference of $100 there for a gallon, the outcome of those two products is the same freaking thing. But there's a $60 difference. At least to me, there's no difference, but there is a little bit of a difference. The InterQD does have like anti-static and antibacterial properties attached to the name, where P&S interior cleaner doesn't. You don't need to worry too much about what brand you're buying or where you're going for your chemicals. Just know that most of them are gonna do the same thing. Like, what, are you gonna get two different interior cleaners and maybe they have like slightly different finishes to them? Maybe one doesn't clean too well, maybe the smell you don't like. Just don't be too wound up on specific brands. I have like maybe 6 or 7 different brands depending on what type of chemical it is. I was doing a lot of research and stuff, and it's like, yeah, like the research is important, and maybe I'll show you guys what chemicals I found to be really good, but it's like, I've only really used the ones I have now because it's like, I wanted good ones from the start, so I researched and I got them. Like, that's how I did it. Some of them were sucky. I'm gonna say that. Some Meguiar's ones I wasn't a big fan of. I've talked about those in the past. But make sure you're kind of like experimenting and trying out different brands. You don't want to think what you have is really good and then you try something else and it's like way better and you're like, man, what have I been doing all this time? Or you don't want to try something that's really good and then you try something crappy and you're like, okay, well, I'm thankful that I have this one. Don't be afraid to experiment a little bit with the different brands and different chemicals. It's not as important as most people make it out to be. Like, it really isn't. Multi-purpose products, you know, you might want to do a little more research for those. When you're looking for a wheel and tire cleaner, there's 2 distinct categories, and you're gonna find that you can either split it up and have like a tire cleaner and a rim cleaner, or you could just have a one that does both. And you could split up into your cleaner the same way. So maybe my logic is flawed here. So it's just, whatever, just experiment and find the stuff that you like. So I thought I liked BrakeBuster a lot, but then I heard good things about the Atom Magic Wheel Cleaner, so now I got some of that, and I'm gonna be trying that out. I'm excited for that. But it's important that you keep that excitement up, you try new things. But you also wanna know what works well for what you usually do and how you usually work, because everyone does it differently, everyone works differently. Yeah, I mean, hey, these are some basic tips. I hope I was able to keep this somewhat entertaining. I know it's kind of just a static video, but sometimes your boy gotta do that to feed the family, you know? My family needs feeding. You know, it's super hard to do some of these jokes when you're just doing it, and it's like, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna be doing later with this footage. So a little bit more of a chill video today. And we'll have a couple of these every now and then. I gotta crank, you know? So it's always good talking to you guys. Let's cue the outro. I love you guys.